So I ran into a bit of a conundrum. I got the piston ring tool for putting these pistons in. I popped one in just for the heck of it. So this thing is damn near on zero. That's deck height right there. Watch this when I rotate the engine just a little bit. See it? That piston is coming up out of the bore 10 thousandths of an inch. Alright, let's try this again. Focus. Focus, children, focus. Alright, you ready? Here we go. See it coming up out of there? Whoop. And you can physically see it, like I'm looking across the deck. See, that's the piston coming out of the bore. So I don't know if that's a problem or not, but I guess I'm gonna find out. What's going on, guys? Well, I'm back out here. We're getting ready to work on the Ford engine again, the 351 Windsor Stroker. I did find out you need 40 thousandths from the cylinder head to the block clearance. Excuse me. And I looked through, and they make head gaskets all the way up to 70 thousandths for this thing. It's like a real thick copper head gasket, so Bill's just going to have to run a really thick head gasket in this thing to make it work. So it's kind of relieved on that about the, you know, the piston being 10 thousandths out of the bore. So I'm going to go ahead and, I got one in already. I'm going to go ahead and put the other 3 in at least on this side. So here we go. Check it out. Sorry about that. I don't think I had you in the shot very well there. Pop that dude in there like that. Once everything's lined up right, it's good. You just got to make sure these things are lined up perfect, because that ring pack is tight. Real slow on the bottom. Rod cap. Pop that bearing out there real quick, make sure everything's clean. Time for a new rag. And as always, you got a notch in the cap, a notch in the bearing. Just kind of roll it in, line the notch up. Little dab of this red assembly lube goo. You can use, I used to use STP engine treatment. That worked really good. That's a real heavy, sticky oil. And you just line up your notches. Your notch to your notch. Bolt started. Speed wrench to snug them down. Make sure they're squared up good, so don't smash the little sleeve in there. I'll show you what it talks about. So how these rods rod caps, they're like the old ones had the studs coming through, so that's what would align your cap up. But these aftermarket, I think these are SRPs, you've got this little shoulder on here. See that? Let me get a gander at the camera. See that little sleeve right there? That's what lines up the caps. Squares them up, so when you're putting it together, you want to make sure you line those up real good, get those started. Kind of hard for me to do this, but make sure those are started good. I mean, they got to be dead nuts lined up like that, and then you start your bolts. Make sure those guys are lined up. If you don't, you'll smash those those dowels, and then you'll be up shit's creek. And you're gonna have a messed up rod. I didn't change the rings on this one yet. I'm gonna pause it for a second. Shit. I don't want to force anything, that's for sure. Give this a couple taps to square it up on the block. See, if you take your time, then it just falls in there. That's the way you want it to go. You don't want to have to force it. Bend the shit out of those rings like they did before. That one's home. Cap. Get a clean towel. Can't tell you how many towels I go through because I want to keep everything clean. Let this dry. The back of the bearing dry. That way when you torque it, you don't have any weird clearance issues. Okay, so we got a notch on the inside. I believe the notch is on the inside. Get the dowels lined up. These down very carefully, make sure they're lined up. When I put this last one in, I'll roll the engine over so I can show you how we do these rod caps without getting them in a bind. Slide those down. Alright, let's get number 4 here. Crank lined up. Let's see if I can bring it around here. Show you what I'm doing with the crank. I'm gonna roll that dude where it is far down. Sorry, I'm banging the right about there. That gives me a good idea where we're at. Number 1 holds back up. When all these are in, I'll take some brake clean here in a minute, clean the top of these pistons off. Okay, I think I've got you right over top of the action. So what I do is I take my fingers, I just hold the rod, it's got the bearing on it, remember. I'm tapping it down, tap it very slowly, very evenly, until it just touches. There, she's bottomed out. So, another thing I want to tell you, which is going to be hard for me to do with this on the tripod, see how bad I can make this happen, is if you look, I gotta turn the light on. Let's see if it'll let me do it. Okay. So see that notch? That's where that bearing is. And that's how you want to line up your caps. The notches always line up with the notches on the rod. So remember that, notch to notch. I gotta put a little lube on this. I'll get you back up here. There, that wasn't too bad. I gotta put some lube on this. A little dab, smear it around. Remember to dry in between here, make sure there's no oil in there. And then your notch is on the bottom on this side. So I kind of give it a little wiggle. Start this bolt. Start the bottom bolt, the inside bolt. And then this is where you gotta be careful. Now you can just give it a little tap. And that'll line those valves up. And I mean a little tap, don't go beating the crap out of it. And I got the old speed wrench. Gonna run these down snug. Kind of go back and forth side to side so you don't get anything in a bind. And that one's flat. You can see the grease coming out of it. And then that one's flat. Cool, cool. So, let's see. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna record in hyperlapse. I'm gonna get the other 4 in, and then we're gonna torque them. I'll slow it down, and we'll go through the torque process. Cool, cool. All right, let's get to torquing these bad boys down. So the torque spec, the factory torque spec's 35, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's 35 to 45, so with that bigger rod bolt, I think I can probably get away with 45. I mean 50. I'm gonna go 50 on them. Those rod bolts are freaking beefy. Beefy. They're a 12.7/16. So I'm just going to start with the ones I can get to. You don't really have to go in any specific order. Just evenly torque them. Reset. A little whirl here. Man, every time you put a piston in, it gets harder to turn. With all those rings dragging and bearings and heavy oil. Don't let that alarm you when it is more difficult to turn. It's just you're fighting on them rods. Let's see, did I take this? Yeah. That's the 7 torque. I mean, if you don't want to do it in order so you don't forget, that's probably the best way to do it. Just go front to back or back to front. But I'm going to go through and recheck them anyway. Let's just go back to front. Yeah, all good bolts, good hardware in this set. Whoever makes this stroker, I'm really not sure who it is, but it's a good set. I think we are golden on the torquage. Be on the safe side. Don't be afraid to do it again. Okay, so there you have it. Got the crank in it, got the rods in it, got the pistons in it, new rings. Man, this thing's going to be like an engine again. Bill's going to be stoked. I need to call him here in a little bit anyway. Tell him that we need to put those thicker head gaskets on it and stuff. So, but yeah, we're coming along this week. So this is what I'll be working on this week mainly, and then I want to start cleaning up that 283 And I definitely want to take this. I want to get the tailgate fixed on the S10. I ordered the hinge kits for it. So we're going to do that. And that way I can sneak these engines and transmissions into the old wishy-washy car wash. I'll hose them down with some degreaser and then take them down there. And I know you're not supposed to, but nah. Anyway, I'm going to cut this video off here. And I'll see you on the next one. And get out there and fix something. Or break something and fix it. I don't care. I like breaking stuff too, so. Anyway. Peace out.